Hey everyone, Vikings Guy here. I'm here with Katie. You might know her on TikTok as just_a_housewife. I just call her housewife or Katie.
Yeah.
Katie, welcome. Tell us a little bit about yourself. Thanks for coming in, first off.
Sure, of course. Yeah, I was excited.
So tell us about you. What should people know first blush about you? I mean, you have almost 77,000 followers. And for a guy that's got, 12,000 or whatever, I'm sitting there going, how did she do this? I want to know. Just tell us about you and give us a couple tricks of the trade. How'd you get in and what got you to where you are?
Well, first of all, it's a hard niche, right? So I'm not surprised you're only at 12,000 followers,
Yeah.
which I think that's actually pretty good. I've been doing this for almost 2 years now. A few years ago, I was doing Instagram and it was totally different, fashion and beauty, right? But it was right around when the reels were being introduced and it was like child oriented and it just kind of turned me off. So someone told me to try TikTok. Still video format, but at least the kinks were all worked out, right? So I tried it and my handle was similar to this one, Just a Housewife 79. That was just kind of stay-at-home mom stuff. It got hacked. It got hacked. That one got hacked up 1,000 followers, right? That one's still floating around out there. So I have a lot of fake accounts floating around about me, but that one, people would look at that one and be like, is that her? Because there's like views and videos and I can't do anything about it. So I started this account, right? At first it was kind of the same thing, like just general humor. But one day, because I was trying to build my following up, I went live and I wore this.
Yeah.
And kind of what did it.
Yeah.
Like all these people started coming in. We just started chatting football. 2 years later, like that's how I grew the following. I would say half of my following has probably come from live streams.
Yeah.
And at the time, it was kind of an anomaly. There was like no women doing this, right?
Yeah.
Now I see a little more women doing it, which is good. But at the time, it was just like I didn't see any women talking about football.
Yeah.
So
it's interesting to me. I have two daughters. One that's 18, one that's 10. She's been on the pod, the 10-year-old. I took my 18-year-old to London. She insisted that she go watch football over there when it was Vikings. She's as big a Viking fan as there is. Yeah, I know. And I was thinking about going to Tennessee this weekend, but I actually have an interview with a former Viking tomorrow that'll be on the podcast next week. I know. I'm not going to say who, because until the interview happens, it's kind of one of those things where it's like, if I say anything and it doesn't happen, then I got to go back and edit a bunch of stuff. But it is a former Viking. He played on a NFC championship game team. And so I got some really interesting questions to ask him.
Cool.
Yeah. We're adding people. I got a person possibly from NFL Network coming on in about 3 weeks. So that's, we're just sort of ramping this thing up. And part of the reason I got the podcast going was just for that, to kind of separate a little from TikTok and to give people another avenue. And the podcast has been great. I couldn't even imagine the sort of success that would have. And, my son said yesterday he was at work and he does HVAC and he's sitting in the shop with one of his friends. And one of his friends says, where is that voice? What are you listening to? And he goes, wait, is that Vikings Guy? And
cool.
And the guy says, do you know him? And he goes, yeah, that's my dad. My dad is Vikings Guy. And my son loves some of that. And some of that he's just like, he's like, I hate this because I'm a guy that would be like, hey, we were sitting in Chinese one day and a guy comes up, wait, you're Vikings Guy, right? And I'm just like, oh God. My kids hate it because they know I won't let it go. Like I
that I do this around here and we're going to keep it that way. Nobody knows like that. And my son, he's in high school. Like he would literally like just fucking die if he knew that. If his friends found out that I was on TikTok, he would just be like mortified. So I'm like, one day it's going to happen, bud. Like, I can't control it, but we'll see.
My 10-year-old comes in and she's just like, Dad, that's so cringe. And she says that her friends watch me on TikTok and they say it's cringe. That's what 10-year-old girls say.
Hilarious.
But they always come back, right?
They on it. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. One night I was sitting in the night that one guy saw me and called me Vikings Guy, one of her friends was sitting there and I said, don't tell Josie I was eating Chinese food and they always like to eat Chinese. And don't tell Josie I was here. Josie got a Snapchat when she got home from church and it said, she goes, look who I found at Chinese Vikings Guy or whatever.
locally famous. I
I
love
know.
it.
Yeah, it is what it is.
Cool.
Yeah. So, what do you? I guess you're on TikTok. You are big enough to be monetized. Do you do a lot with that?
I don't do anything with it.
Yeah.
I, I don't even know. And that's the thing. Like, I don't ever ask for gifts. I feel weird doing that. I don't know. I mean, and I don't necessarily need the income, so I just feel weird about asking for gifts and for money. But no shade to anybody that does it, but like I just doesn't feel it feels off to me.
Yeah.
I know I have some subscribers. I don't even know who they are. Like this is how like I'm so not into the money. I'm serious, and like
Yeah.
if someone gives me a gift, I'm like, should I keep track of that? And I just don't. And I always tell them like I appreciate it. They're so sweet for doing it. I don't pay much attention to that. So if I don't call them out the next live or give them props,
Yeah.
it's not on purpose. I don't even really know how to monetize, to be honest.
Yeah.
It's just become a fun hobby for me, and that's where I've gone with it. So
When I set it up for the subscribers, you can set it up where actually you can put like a catchphrase or a little badge. So when they come on, it tells you, like in mine, it says Vike. If it says Vike or Vikes, that means they're a subscriber. It
okay, it
pops up
could be,
right above their thing.
I don't know it, dude.
Yeah.
Like I mean, just I'm completely clueless about it. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. Well, no, but I think sometimes for people who aren't on TikTok, you get gifts or whatever. People like put funny hats on you or whatever. It's whatever. But
yeah,
it sometimes feels like online panhandling.
kind of,
Yeah.
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 I mean,
And
really
yeah.
pretty. Like I think the gifts, like all the variety of it, they're so pretty, and I think they look
Yeah.
cool on the screen. But I'm just like,
Yeah.
you guys save your money because I don't even. So I do have money sitting in my account. It's not a lot.
Yeah.
It's I don't know, 200, and I
Yeah.
haven't cashed out yet.
Yeah.
So
So when I come into your lives, one of the things that's remarkable to me, and I'm wondering if it's maybe the format, where you put when you put the games up on a screen, like a
mm,
green screen, and then you
yeah,
speak to the green screen. Um,
yes.
what do you think the secret is to having so many people in your lives? Because to be honest, in your lives, it's typically anywhere from 100 to 400 or 500 when I'm in there. How do you do that? How do you think you do that?
I don't know. It's interesting because last year around this time, I feel like there were more people. Like there were times last year when I was getting like 1,000 people in the live. Now I've noticed it tick up a little bit, and it could be a mid-season thing, right? Like we're getting like the season's really heating up, right?
Yeah.
So the viewership continue to go up. Um, but yeah, right now it's usually between like 400, something like that. And like I said, I usually read the comments from the people who follow me, right? Because I want to support the people who support me. But
Sure.
that's the way I interact with the crowd. I like
Yeah.
to read their thoughts. I like to make them feel noticed and welcome in the live. Um, Again, I've been doing this for 2 years now, so people know me. So that they're probably going to come in a little bit more because they know who I am.
Yeah.
The screens do a lot better than this, right?
Yeah.
Nobody wants to. They want to look at the pics and the green screen. So, yeah, that's basically how I manage it. When the chat's very busy, it's not always easy, but it has helped for me to just read the comments first from the people who follow me,
Sure.
unless there's a comment in there that I want to read. And if it's a troll comment, then sometimes you know what I do.
Yeah.
I'll pin them up and go after them. So
No, that's good. And I think too, they hear the voice and think, oh, she's really sweet. Yep, you are. Until someone says, and there are a lot of people on TikTok that say really stupid shit. There is. There is. With that being said, as of right now, what this season to this minute, what is the most annoying fan base that you've dealt with so far?
oh god, it changes because the Vikings fans were killing it first. They got
Hmm.
the most. Can I swear on here, or
Yeah, go
does that?
ahead. No, you can. You can.
So I was giving off an award, and it was giving out an award, and it was called Most Fucking Annoying Fan Base Award. And the
Yeah.
Vikings
Oh,
they
we
had
had
that.
that. Yeah, yeah, for sure.
You had,
Yeah. Yep, we had that.
you guys lost a couple of games, and you guys were nowhere to be seen. I'm like, where are you guys at? Like,
Yeah.
don't hide. They got a little skittish. Like I was going to go after him or something, and I wasn't. I never crap on the teams, right? It's
Yeah.
just the fans that I'll go after. So they've kind of fallen off, dude. Right now, I got to tell you, the Lions fans.
Oh, yes.
Dude, I can't with them. I just can't. I mean, like they got like this last year around this time too, and it's so funny because they beat the Chiefs week 1 last year, right? And I kind of thought it was hilarious. The Chiefs had like 7 drops that game. I went live. I dropped my pen like 6 times because it was so ridiculous, right? And Chris Jones and Travis Kelce were not in that
I
game.
was just going to say that. Yep. You weren't anywhere near full strength. Correct.
They don't like it when I bring that up. That's fine. But I'm like, bro, why are you bringing up a week 1 game last year? So anyways, I was like jovial about it, right? If that had happened week 11, I probably would have been a little less jovial about it. But it was week 1. I was like, whatever. I was still rooting for the Lions. I was happy for them. I'm like, this is cool. Then the fan base completely turned on me around this time of last year, coming at me for no reason, crapping on me, crapping on the Chiefs. And I'm like, what is your problem? Right. And then it's just not a good relationship there. And now at this time, the same thing is kind of happening. I'm like, these Lions fans, they kind of have a really weird fixation with the Chiefs. A little creepy. I don't think about you. Worry about your own conference.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right. I just have to go off my experience on TikTok. I don't know any Lions fans in real life. So I got to say that first.
Yeah. So. And I've had that conversation about, well, wait till we play the Chiefs in the Super Bowl. And I go, listen, you are the girl who's had the complete, meaning the Lions are the girl that had the complete makeover, and you've only been pretty for a little while. Like, the Chiefs have been around. They've been to the ball. They've handled the ball. They married a successful dude. They are established. And you are not that. They're not even 10 years removed from going winless in a season. And and I broke it down, and this really pissed off Lions fans. We broke down I know, right? We broke, because they're in our division, and they're insufferable now. And I wasn't against them either, but now I'm just like, honestly, fuck them all. I mean, because I shouldn't say that. They just irritate me, a certain segment of their fan base. We break down the division titles. The Minnesota Vikings have won 23 divisional titles, NFC North, NFC Central. The Packers are second place at 21. The Bears have won like 7 or 8.
Right.
And the Lions have won 4. The next team it took till last year till they had one more championship than the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, who haven't been in the division since 2002.
Right.
And so they're talking all this shit, and it's like, listen, we're happy. We want to be happy for you because you've been a dumpster fire forever.
Right.
Just don't be an asshole. All we're asking is enjoy the season. And now, honestly, I not only want the Lions to lose in the playoffs, I want the Vikings to go there and just fucking whomp them. Or the Packers even, just take them to the woodshed.
But you think they would have learned their lesson last year with the NFC Championship, how they crap their diapers, right? You think they would have learned. Like, don't talk all this smack, right? Have some humility. Like, that's my gig. Like, I stay humble. I never go into a matchup saying the Chiefs are going to just annihilate a team. It's any given Sunday, right? Like, I've done that. And, like, they just haven't grasped that.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, and I get it. It's learning how to win. I mean, and I've always said this since this is a...
No. There's no excuse anymore. They had that last year. I heard that excuse last year. Well, we're just learning how to win. Okay. Well, what about this year? And again, I'm sure there's still plenty. I'm sure there's some very nice. I have some nice fans that come in my life, but there just aren't many.
Well, and I told a Lions fan a couple weeks ago, I go, you Lions fans are like a virgin that got their first piece of ass. You're bragging to everybody else who's had that ass for years, and you're like, dude, we've been there. We know it's great. We know it's awesome. Just zip it and act like you've been there now.
What do they say?
Oh, they just, well, you're just mad because of whatever. You're just mad at whatever. Here, I will say this, and I've said it for the last couple of years. I don't like the bite the kneecap bullshit. I think Dan Campbell was raised in the house of Peyton. I'm not a Sean Payton guy. I think he's a dirtbag, and I tell everyone I can about it, and I say it in every show, basically. And Dan Campbell grew up in that. He was in that culture. He coached at that culture. And to say that some of these, like that hit that Joseph put on, or that Branch put on Bo Melton in Green Bay is absolutely deplorable, ridiculous. And what happened to him is exactly what should have happened.
They get away with dirty hits all the time. All the time. They held on to Jordan Love's ankle. I don't remember who the defender was, but he held on to his ankle for like an extended period of time.
Twisted it over. Yep.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. No, they get dirty. Yeah.
Killed Hawkinson. They killed Higbee in almost back-to-back weeks. And it's like, and then their fans are like, yay, look what we did. I said, folks, and I said in one of my videos, karma's a real thing in my life.
Right. Yeah. And then Laporta got hurt last year, though. Remember that? After the Hawkinson thing? They were all going after you guys and like bragging about it. And then what happened? Laporta got hurt.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. I said everything's great in your season until, because here's the thing, in the NFL, there are people who are petty. Not all the
mm,
players are mature, and some of them
yeah,
are that Vontaze Burfict who used to play for the Bengals, real petty, real angry, real young. And you're going to
right,
have somebody take a low shot and wipe out Goff. And then when you got to bring in Hendon Hooker and you're in you're the top seed and you play your first game and get bounced and you go, wah, wah, we'll be back next year. Guess what? Now Goff's a
right.
year older. Jameer Gibbs isn't
Totally.
guaranteed to make it a whole season. I mean, there's just so many things, this have to line up right for your team to
Right,
go somewhere. Well, no, okay.
right.
Let's get into that since
We,
that's a good segue. Not specifically your team, okay? Because your team just goes every year because you have the greatest quarterback that has ever lived in the last 15
oh
years.
God, yeah,
We
those
got to go there,
cheapies.
Katie. We have to go there because you know what? Your team is, of course, the belle of the ball. They are undefeated,
Mhm.
9-0.
Yeah,
With that
I
being
don't.
said, let me give you some statistics. You can do what you want with these. The
Okay,
Chiefs are 2-0 in games decided by 1 to 3 points this year. They
okay,
are 5-0 in games that are decided by 4 or 7 points,
okay,
which in the previous two undefeated stints that has happened in the NFL, one was the Patriots that stopped, and then one that was the Dolphins, which was an undefeated season. You've had
right.
more close games
Yes.
already in 9 weeks than those teams had throughout the entire season. So tell me about, because someone could say, well, they're hardened, they're battle tested, they can win those close games, and that'll just keep happening. Or do you feel like maybe in a way that you're sort of due for a loss?
Oh, I definitely feel they're due for a loss.
Yeah,
And I don't want them to go undefeated. You know what happened with the Patriots in was it 2007? I
yeah,
just that was a bad omen to me. Um, and I've talked to my friend who's a huge Patriots fan, and he said that one of the reasons he thought that happened is they put way too much on tape during regular season. So I do think there's something to that. But I think it's good if they lose a couple of games to
yeah,
keep them humble, right? Um, a lot of people have said that they're not the number one team because they're not winning in a dominant fashion, right? And what I say to that is they lost their wide receiver one, they lost their wide receiver two, they lost their running back one, they lost their wide receiver four. And the fact that I even have to talk about Juju Smith-Schuster tells you how thin they are in the pass catching room. They lost both of their tight ends, not Travis Kelce or Noah Gray, but two backup tight ends who again they were using
yep,
because the pass catching room was so thin. They don't have Charles Omenihu back. They lost Jalen Watson. He was a cornerback too. I don't know if you know who he is. He
hmm?
replaced
Yeah.
Jerry Sneed, and
Who
he was
also
balling out.
left? Who also left?
Season-ending
Yeah,
injury.
yeah,
So they have had to deal with so many season-ending injuries, and they've adjusted. And people want to know why they're not winning in a dominant fashion.
yeah,
Well, because of that. So,
yeah. And I
right?
think I've always been a fan of Andy Reid. I feel like when as a fan base, it's nice to have a coach that's sort of the adult in the room. And he is just Big Red is the adult in the room. When it comes to making the big
Yeah,
choices, there's not many
yeah.
games where you're sitting there going, God, Andy Reid, what were you thinking? Because
There's
his track record is just so solid, almost
there's
annoyingly so. He's just so solid. And, like I see him in the coast. I just love it for Andy Reid because I was worried that he would be the greatest coach to never win a Super Bowl. And to
no.
see him have so much success, because I think genuinely he's just a super, super nice guy.
I think he is too.
Yeah. Yeah. And he looks, you know what? He looks like the average man. He's not some
I know.
manicured Sean McVay, the perfect, or that McDaniels. He doesn't have the perfect haircut, or even O'Connell, right? I mean, Mr. GQ. He's just this big,
Totally.
fat, frumpy,
Right.
mustachy old guy in the middle of the Midwest. And I love it
Yeah.
when, have you ever seen the video of Andy Reid in his punt, pass, and kick competition?
Oh, it's hilarious.
Oh,
When he was
yeah.
when he
When he was little, I mean, he was
yeah
like a 6 foot
like
whatever, 200-pound kid
hysterical.
kicking the ball 70 yards.
Hysterical.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love that. Well, and on the note where we were talking about those 7 games divided by 7 points or less, 4 of those have been decided on the final play too.
Yes.
That's
Dude,
wild. I mean, that's
think how it is for me watching these games.
yeah,
Like
yeah,
every
yeah.
week, same thing.
Yeah.
Stressful.
Well, as a Viking fan, I work at US Bank Stadium, and I will say this: the game against the Texans that we won this year by 31, it was one of the first. It actually was the first time in US Bank Stadium where I've been at a game where by the third quarter I could sort of breathe, like
That's so
we
great.
were cool.
Right.
Because so many of those games at US Bank Stadium have been what I call meat grinder games, where it's like,
Yes.
here we go, fourth quarter. I'm either gonna go home and have some liquor, or I'm gonna be happy a little bit because we blew a 12-point lead or whatever.
So I don't live in Kansas City, so I only get to go to a game about once a year, and I bring my son. He's a huge Chiefs fan too. And last year we went to Bears Chiefs. It
Yeah.
was a very I could relax, I could drink. They totally blew them out, right? This year we went to the Bengals game, and we sat on row two. So I was like, oh, I hope this is the kind of game where maybe we can like talk to the players. No,
Yeah.
that game right down to the wire. So
Yeah,
totally
back and
different.
forth. That would have been a fun game to be at, though.
It was, but it was just like heart stopping.
Yeah.
So
I
yeah.
don't know what it is with the Bengals and you guys. You have some battles. They're just
I
some
mean,
battles. It's like when Burrow sees you guys, he's just like, today I play well and I'm going to stay
yeah.
in.
And
Yeah.
well, and their defensive coordinator, Lou Anarumo, he always calls such a really good game against the Chiefs. I
Yeah.
mean, they can have a bad defensive game any other matchup, but he will call a great defensive matchup against the Chiefs. It's
Yeah.
so irritating.
Yeah.
So,
Well,
yeah.
it's interesting. My ex-wife was a Chiefs fan, and so I've been around the Chiefs. And, honestly, I've always been a Viking fan, but I've never really cheered against the Chiefs because in a lot of
Okay.
ways, before Mahomes showed up, the Chiefs
Yeah.
they used to refer to the Chiefs here as kind of Viking South.
Okay.
Not a dumpster fire, just sort of really close, especially during like the Marty, what the heck's his name now? Marty Schottenheimer days, the old days with the Chiefs.
Right.
And
Right.
they were always just sort of like the Vikings. They would never really win anything big. Had great players, Derek Thomas. I mean, they had all these different guys. They had
Right.
all these different guys that were great, but just could never get there. And so to see the Chiefs get there, Pat Mahomes, his dad pitched for the Twins. I mean, for
Right.
me personally, there was never a real reason to go, oh, those Chiefs or whatever. I think what you guys are suffering from is a little bit of that, what I call Brady fatigue.
Oh God.
Where it's like, okay,
Yeah.
they've had their run, it's cool. Now we just sort of we turn the page, and it's like to me, this is a team from the Midwest. I get so tired of let's talk about California and Baltimore and New York. I'm tired of that. Baltimore isn't going to win anything because their defense is horseshit, and I think Harbaugh is an underachiever out there.
Okay.
That's my
I
opinion.
don't know about that. I mean, I know what you're talking about the Ravens pass defense, which is crap, and I thought it'd be getting a little bit better as the year went on, and it's just not.
Yeah.
So yeah, that might be their downfall. But with the Chiefs, the difference between what they're going through versus what the Patriots went through, they didn't have to go through any of this at the height of social media. Like
Yeah.
even 2016, 2017, when social media really took off, it's nothing compared to what it is now.
Yeah.
So like if the Patriots went through their dynasty now, it would be like 100 times the hate.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it just
No, I think
yeah.
that's fair. Yeah, I think
Mm.
that's fair. I was able to I've been to one Super Bowl, the one that was at US Bank Stadium, and I got to watch the team that destroyed us in the NFC Championship, the Eagles, win the
Right.
Super Bowl. And I thought I would be like really angry at the Eagles for winning the Super Bowl there. But
Yes.
you know what, Katie? I sat at that stadium. I was the supervisor in one of the clubs at
Okay.
US Bank Stadium, and I looked around the crowd as the Patriots were losing the Super Bowl to the Eagles, and I saw guys that looked like my dad or my grandpa or my uncle who've spent an entire life wanting the Vikings to win a Super Bowl and never have seen it. And those
Yeah.
Eagles fans were feeling that for the first time,
Oh,
which was
yeah.
as much as the Eagles fan base and franchise, you kind of go because they're just sort of off and on terrible.
Right. Right.
And at that moment to see husbands and wives hugging and kissing and grandpas holding their grandkids and seeing something that they've never seen for 60 years was special. I mean, it was just special to see a team. I cheer for the team that's never won. That's why it upsets me with what
the
Detroit
Lions.
Lions fans have done, because
Fun
I
for
wouldn't
them.
begrudge them a Super Bowl. Like, they
Right.
deserve that after all the suffering the real fans have gone through.
Right.
So, well, and I told you we would do this. I warned you a little bit. I threatened you with a good time here. What I want to do is go through the last 8 games that the Chiefs have. I'm going to put you on the spot. I'll name it
Okay.
off, and I want you to tell me which games you think they will
I
win
don't
or
know
lose.
what Bills. I don't know what. I don't know.
Well,
Chiefs Bills.
listen. You're gonna have to jump off the fence here. I told you this wasn't gonna be easy, and I'm not gonna give you a bunch of time. Are you
Right.
ready? Are you
Okay.
thoroughly prepared? Sort of.
Okay, let's go.
Okay.
All right.
You got the Bills at Bills.
I'll take Chiefs.
Okay. At Panthers.
I'll take Chiefs. That'll be a close one though. It'll be
Do you think
close.
Bills will be close? Let's go back there. Bills will be
Oh
close?
yeah.
Okay. You're at home against the Raiders.
I'll take Chiefs.
Close or no?
Well, division rival. Maybe close-ish, but
Yeah. Division games are weird, aren't they? They're just weird. That's why when people go, oh, Vikings, Detroit, blah, calm down.
Dude, they just hit different, right?
They're just weird. Home against the Chargers.
Ooh, wait, is that one an Arrowhead? Or is
I
that
think that's at Arrowhead. Yeah, I think that's at home, right?
I think maybe they're gonna drop that one.
Yeah.
I have
Chargers are a weird matchup, and Harbaugh is tough. He's so good. That
right.
Harbaugh I really like. I think he's just out of his head good. At the Browns.
I'll take Chiefs.
Okay. And home against the Texans.
Oh, I will take Chiefs in a very close one.
Yeah.
They have a great team.
Yeah, the problem with the Texans, too, is their offensive line is just destroyed. They can't
It's
stop,
like,
you know.
I feel so bad for CJ Stroud, too.
Yeah. I worry about those young quarterbacks getting killed. At the Steelers.
Oh, God.
What a matchup, by the way. Good Lord.
I'll do Chiefs.
You think that'll be close?
Yes, I absolutely do.
I was thinking that, too. That's a good answer. Okay,
They're
finally, at Broncos.
I'll take Broncos there.
Yeah.
Because their Chiefs are sitting their starters by then, which I'm not even on that train. Like, a lot of people are rolling in, they're going to be sitting their starters then. It's like, let's not put the cart before the horse here. They still have a lot of football left to play. But if they're sitting their starters, I have the Broncos winning. And if they're not sitting the starters, I still have the Broncos winning.
Yeah.
So
15-2. Okay. Most certainly the number one seed. Who's the team in the playoffs when you make it there? Who's the team you don't want to see?
Bengals.
Cincinnati. Yeah, I think that's fair.
I don't, and I'm gonna go on record now. If the Bengals sneak into the playoffs, I don't think anybody in the AFC wants to see them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, if Burrow could stay healthy, he just has, I don't know, man, it's that eye of the tiger. Like, when he gets in a spot, like, it's hard to count him out. And he's been with some teams with terrible defenses and weird things that have happened. And he just has a way of just willing people to a win.
Right.
And I think having a guy like Jefferson or Chase or those kind of receivers just hit different in the playoffs if you get them in the right scenario.
I cannot stand Jamar Chase, but yeah.
No, I personally, he's a pain in the ass. But I mean, he is just, he's that guy. I mean, I know him and Jefferson, I had really high hopes that maybe we'd be able to swing some way of getting Chase to us, because then maybe it would be impossible to beat us. But, you know, with that Darnold situation, from a distance, I'll ask you one more Viking question, because we haven't really got into Vikings much. This Darnold thing, when you see him throw 3 interceptions, first blush, what do you think?
Darnold?
Yeah.
I haven't been following you guys super closely this year, right? So I'll just put that there. I know he was playing very well in the last couple of games. Is that when he threw the interceptions? I don't even know when he threw them.
Yeah.
Okay. The last couple of games, I'm sort of like, okay, now we're sort of seeing why he's not a starting quarterback, right?
Yeah.
Or why backup quarterback. But that's the first thought that enters my head. But then I'm just like, no, let's wait. You know, he might just be having a bad stretch. Like Jared Goff threw 5 interceptions against the Texans, right? God forbid you point that out to a Lions fan, right? But it would have just been a bad game. So I'm not hanging it up on Darnold yet. You know, it could just be a tough couple of games for him. So
the difference in perspective from Sunday at 4 p.m. Central with Lions fans and then at 9 p.m. Central with Lions fans was night and day. Because they're like, oh, look at your goofy quarterback, throws 3 interceptions. And I was like, in my podcast, the last one, I said, it was like Jared Goff said, here, hold my beer. I mean, the one was a Hail Mary and a couple were tipped, but even so, in the record book, they're still going to show Goff throwing 5.
Right.
And
they counted
correct.
So.
Yeah. Well, and you know, here's what people have asked me about the Darnold situation, and I say a couple things. One, for Viking fans and fans in general, and everyone gets fixated on Super Bowls.
Right.
There are 32 teams. there are 31 teams that won't win it.
Right.
And to look at your season, even if you're the runner-up, and say, oh, what a disappointment, that's ridiculous. There are plenty of teams, Carolina, now Denver. I mean, all these different teams that would love to be in that position and are nowhere close. And so there's that. And when it comes to Darnold, getting back to Darnold, the last time McVay was on a Super Bowl winning, or excuse me, O'Connell was on a Super Bowl winning team, his starting quarterback for his offense was Matthew Stafford.
Yes.
Do you know who led the league in interceptions that season?
Was it Stafford?
Oh, it was.
Okay.
So I think the Vikings defense is better this year than the Lions was. I feel like Aaron Jones is a better runner than they had back in, I think it was Gurley-ish in his prime. So I don't know. The interceptions upset me because when you have 400 yards of offense, 40 yards of possession time, which is more than anybody's had in a game this season, and you win by 5 without a touchdown, there are tiny alarm bells going off like, hey, if you do that against somebody that isn't perpetual hot garbage like Jacksonville, you may just get whomped.
Do you think it has anything to do with losing their left tackle? I know you guys traded for another one, but...
You know, I don't want to rule that out because I think there are things that Cam Robinson can't do that Darisaw could. And specifically, I'll go back a couple right before he got hurt. It was against the Lions. So the Lions did a stunt. I don't know if you saw that, but you don't watch a lot of Vikings, but the Lions did a stunt. Darisaw blocked a guy into the center.
Okay.
Another guy swung around on the outside of Darisaw. He dropped back and blocked that guy too in the same play. It was one of the most remarkable offensive tackle plays I've ever seen in my life because he nailed 2 guys in one play. For a guy who's 350 pounds. Like he's just, boom, I'm going to go here now. So how do you replace that? You can't. The Vikings pulled a coup getting a starting left tackle. But yeah, I think it could be part of that. You know what I think it is too? People like from the outside in like to talk mad shit about Jefferson being a diva, and he's just like Diggs. He's not Stephon Diggs, not anywhere close. He's a humble guy that lives in a small condo in a very nice suburban. Yeah. Well, but the thing is, people are like, well, he's got to, like, they used to have something with Randy Moss called the Randy ratio, where you absolutely had to throw the ball to Randy in the beginning of the game, and you had to get him so many touches or he was a pain in the ass.
Okay.
I don't think he's putting that pressure on Darnold. I think what it is Darnold sees the best receiver in the NFL in most circles, and he says, I can throw him anything.
Yeah. He's down there somewhere.
Correct. The problem is that that's cool and all, but when you have Jordan Addison, who would be a starting number 1 for half the teams in this league, wide open across the middle, or you got Aaron Jones across the middle by 10 yards.
So he's been missing some
big time. And even Aaron Jones's, was it Aaron Jones's? No, it was Jordan Addison's father tweeted out, even Stevie Wonder could have saw my son open on that play.
Oh, man.
That was nice. Yes, that was super nice. You know, Jordan Addison, Mr. I got a DUI, and Mr. I'm driving 150 in a Lamborghini in St. Paul when there are 2 of them. You may just want to zip your lid and play some ball. Just focus on the game here. We understand going after having your dad go after the starting quarterback because he missed a throw. I don't like that shit. I don't like it one bit. Yeah.
I don't want to do that at all. No. But that's social media now. Well, I hope these football players, I would love for them to just not pay any attention to it. Because if you're them and you're having a bad season or a bad stretch, can you imagine like reading all that stuff yourself? Like when D-Hop, I'm like, okay, I hope D-Hop isn't checking social media because he's probably never seen so much slander on himself like before in his entire life. So
I was thinking about you here a couple weeks ago because Jordan Addison made a post and it said free 3 on his Instagram. And they were thinking that it was like trade Addison because he wasn't getting the ball enough.
Okay.
Now, what is the status on Mama Rice? Is she in jail for being a porch pirate, or what's the deal on that, Katie? You got to fill me in. You're giving me the inside scoop.
That was absolutely hysterical, though. I don't know. I have no idea.
She wears the jersey.
Dude, I know she had the jersey on. She's walking down, and then she looked back. She had a double take. She's like, oh, I think I'm going to give that a shot, dude.
So those of you who don't know, Rashee Rice's mother was caught on camera wearing Mama Rice jersey, and she was being a porch pirate, stealing a package from in front of someone's place. Okay, and I got to say this too. Such a crazy story. and I hate to even go into all this, but that guy, the Kansas City, that super fan who
Oh yeah,
robbed a bank,
Robert. Yes.
give a little background on that. What happened there? Just real quickly, what happened there?
I mean, he was just robbing banks and nobody caught him. And he used the money to go to Chiefs games.
Yeah,
And he outfit and he was like crazy and it was him all along.
yeah,
So and then he went
unbelievable.
on. The FBI was after him for, I want
Yeah,
to say like 6 months, and it took him that long to catch him. And they finally
right.
caught him. Yeah, now he's gone. That was crazy.
It's really super unbelievable because, and I think the relevancy of the Chiefs kind of added into that. Like he's
Oh
going to a
yeah.
road game, and where the road game is, he's robbing that bank while he's at the road game.
It's
I mean, you can't
and
even make that shit up. That's a movie. That's a Sunday night movie on CBS.
I know. Well, there is a movie coming out about the Chiefs. Did you know that?
I
Did
did,
you know that?
yeah, I did, yeah. The
Hallmark.
love story or whatever, yeah. Oh my God. I mean, of course I have daughters and they all love Taylor Swift and,
I mean,
they're,
I'm new. I'm an '80s girl. I listen to '80s rock,
yeah,
but I have a
yeah.
problem with Taylor Swift. But like these Swifties, man, they're no joke.
No,
No joke.
no, they are real. In fact, last year when the Chiefs came to US Bank Stadium, Taylor Swift ended up not coming to that game. But there
Yes.
were girls that bought tickets just for that reason because they wanted to see if Taylor Swift came in. And actually,
Yep.
I will say, I think the plan was for her to actually show up. But what happened is I don't know what happened, but we actually had a suite set aside for her.
Oh, did you
We
really?
did, yeah. And that's inside US Bank knowledge information, but we did have a suite put aside for her. So
Okay.
she just didn't come.
Okay.
Yeah. And that's where, of course, the rumors, how come she didn't come? It's like,
Broke up. Yeah, I know.
no, it's whatever. Well, and they've handled it. I will say this: the Chiefs are a quality organization. They handled that sort of distraction like it's nothing.
Yeah.
I will say this: Travis Kelce's haircut early in the season, no bueno.
What was it? I don't
Well,
even
he just
remember.
like she put a bowl on his head and just cut around his head, except sort
I
of
don't
left
even.
sort of a mullet. It was terrible.
I don't remember that.
Oh, it was
That's
bad. And I,
a
I, I made a joke to my daughter. It's like Taylor Swift saying, "That's my man. He's specifically going to have a shitty haircut, so nobody touches him."
well, you heard about their houses getting robbed, right?
I
Mahomes and
did.
yeah, it's insane. And like the thing that bugs me a little bit is like everyone's like, oh, they got to pay the refs, because apparently Travis Kelsey got 20 grand stolen, and I'm just like, what if Mahomes' children were home? Like, what if
Yeah.
kids were sick? They stayed home and that happened. I mean, I don't really think it's that funny, but that's just how much the Chiefs are hated right now.
Well,
So
and it's kind of like crime against anyone. You don't cheer because a rich or a poor person was robbed. And
no,
people forget too, like because I'm in my position, I meet players and players' families all the time.
yeah,
They are regular folks that
I
tie their
know,
shoes and put their pants on and they eat food and
right?
they do all the things we do. They just do
It's
one thing really, really well.
and
Um,
it's NFL. I feel like has just trumped over Hollywood.
yeah,
I feel like over the last few years, Hollywood's become less and less relevant,
yeah,
and it's like the NFL has just like trumped it.
yeah.
So
Yeah, it is must-watch. It's must-watch TV. I mean, some of the highest-rated shows, of course, are Super Bowls or Monday night games or some of the playoff games. So yeah.
right.
So Katie, I'm gonna put you on the spot one more time, and then I will let you go. I appreciate you coming. Let's do this again. When the Vikings and
Oh,
Chiefs are in the Super
sure.
Bowl, we absolutely have to do this.
Yeah, this was a lot of fun.
I would love it.
So,
Do you think? I'll ask you a couple questions. Do you think the Vikings will make the playoffs?
oh, what's their record
Seven
right
and
now?
two. 7-2.
Yeah, I do. I
Yeah.
don't. But what's their remaining schedule? I don't even know
Okay.
what
Yeah.
the.
So they have remaining schedule. They have Titans this week
Okay.
at Titans, at the Bears, dumpster fire,
Oh, God.
at
Bears.
home against the Cardinals, tough game.
That'll be tricky. I don't know
Yeah,
about that.
at home against the Falcons,
Another tricky one.
and then
I Falcons are looking right now, but still tricky.
and I
Yeah.
think then it's at home against the Bears. No,
Fire.
at Bears, home against I don't know. So we got Bears twice basically.
The playoffs. Yeah.
Yeah,
I'll
I
be
don't have it in
surprised.
front of me. I should have had it in front of me, but we got Bears twice, Packers once, and Detroit at the end of the year.
Okay, I think they will. I mean,
Yeah,
I'll be surprised if they don't.
yeah,
So
yeah. And here's the thing. I don't know when we get there that we're gonna. I wish we'd have a home playoff game. The problem is the second best team in the NFL is in our division, and the Lions. As much as I talk
hmm
stuff, they're just very good. I mean, I do want to sit there and say, oh, your team's trash or whatever. And I thought after they lost Hutchinson, things would go sideways.
Yeah, me too.
And then
I did
Ben
too.
Johnson's like, well, fuck you. I'm just going to make them score an extra 15 points a game and it won't matter.
Yeah.
I mean, that's it's just unbelievable. I
do think people are sleeping on the Niners a little bit. I think they're going to get healthy soon. They're getting healthy, and I think they might go on a run.
Yeah.
So I think people are sleeping on them a little bit.
No, I think with McCaffrey back, I've said that. I don't think that's all sewn up, and I think the Niners are sort of the Bengals in the AFC. If they get in, hey,
yes.
That team is built for the playoffs. They got good defense. They got a lot of guys with much experience.
Right.
People talk a lot of shit about Brock Purdy. He's been in the league long enough. That kid isn't going away. He's an accurate passer.
He's good.
He's one of the only passers in the history of the NFL to average 9 yards a pass over a season. I think there was only one or two other quarterbacks that have ever done that, and they're Hall of Famers. I think it was Kurt Warner. God, was it Kurt Warner and maybe Montana?
Okay.
I mean, to average 9 yards a pass is unbelievable.
He's smart. He makes good decisions. Like, his arm isn't always the strongest. He has to have his feet planted just right under throws. But he's smart. I think he's a good quarterback. Yeah. So I don't know. It's kind of a mixed bag. I'm excited. I'm excited to see where the season takes us. I tell them, you know what? As Viking fans, just enjoy the season. This is kind of like the Packers last year. We're unfound money. We weren't expected to be anything. Right. Think of McCarthy. Just real quick, I'm curious to know your thoughts on J.D. McCarthy.
You know what I will say? I was at the preseason game where he went out and threw 2 touchdowns and was just like. And what impressed me most about McCarthy in that game wasn't just that he threw 2 touchdowns. He went out, threw a really shitty pass on the sideline, and got intercepted. Goes off the sideline. The Vikings get the ball back. He throws a 40-yard touchdown. Like nothing ever happened. Didn't think about it. I'm back. And then he throws another, I don't know what it was, 38, 40-yard, another 40-yard just bomb, right? Perfectly placed. And then, of course, in true Viking fashion, his knee explodes. His meniscus says, we're goodbye. Well, and then yesterday or 2 days ago, he had to have another procedure, an injection in that knee because it was swelling.
Oh, wow.
So I think the kid's super talented, and I think with any other coach, most any other coach that isn't named Reed or McVay, he probably would be a project. I think with O'Connell, I think he can be great. And I think, honestly, regardless, unless the Vikings go to the Super Bowl, I think JJ's the guy next year, assuming his knee is, serviceable.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. Okay. I love Darnold. He's a good guy. Unfortunately, I think we've seen his ceiling. And I think, now we're chasing away his floor. We can't have the floor in the divisional round of the playoffs. We can't have that.
No.
Because then it's over. Right. And honestly, and my whole mantra is I just want to see him win a Super Bowl before I die. And last year at the end of the season, with the way the division was shaping up, I thought, boy, we're dead. We're just dead because they say, the Bears are this. And I should have known the Bears are a hot mess.
God, they're such a hot mess. My husband's a Bears fan, and he's going to the Bears-Packers game on Sunday, and he's just like, this is going to be a lot of fun.
No, it's brutal. And there's a good video. I reposted. If you want to check out my TikTok, I posted a video. There was a guy in Chicago that broke down the last 10 or 15 years of Bears coaches and quarterbacks. It's like, hire a coach. Oh, that's not his quarterback. We're going to draft a new guy. He goes. And they just, for 15 years, they've done that.
I know. It's insane.
Yeah, it's malfeasance on those young guys. I've advocated for an NFL draft lottery, like the NBA. And the reason I would say that is, so what they do is they take the top 10 teams, and it doesn't matter what the record is. Well, it does. The teams that are worst get more lottery balls, and then they put them in this bingo machine. And then the 1 through 10 team has an opportunity to pull their ball out, and whoever gets that ball gets the first pick.
Oh, I didn't know that.
That's what the NBA does. And it makes a lot of sense to me because I hate seeing a guy like Caleb Williams go to a dumpster fire, terrible-ass team, and then he's wrecked. Or David Carr, Derek Carr's brother. Yeah.
But it's sad. I don't care. I don't care for Caleb Williams for a few reasons, but I don't think he's not talented.
He's hard to cheer for sometimes.
He's kind of hard to cheer for, and he's just, but that doesn't matter. I mean, he's just gone to a dumpster fire organization. Yeah. That's what they say. That's where quarterbacks go to die.
Katie, I'm a traditional guy. I don't want my quarterback painting his fingernails. I'm sorry. I want my guy to be a regular dude, right?
I know. And it's like Dennis Rodman got away with it. I don't know how, but he just did. And this with the Caleb stuff, it just felt forced. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Well, people ask me, like with the Dak Prescott, why does Jerry Jones hang on to him? Well, because Jerry Jones is running a multi-billion-dollar corporation, and Dak is really his COO or CEO. And have you
Yeah,
ever seen Dak Prescott step out of line? Has he ever been irresponsible? He's just a guy that just absolutely shows up, respects the organization, gives great press conferences.
right.
If you can mix the two together,
But
what's that?
he did say we fucking suck on the sideline. You saw that,
He did say, I love that. And the fact that they caught him, and the Cowboys, they have 7 cameras trained on all those guys, CeeDee Lamb or
right?
whatever. And I
Right.
think as a final FU to the Cowboys, we'll end on this. As a final FU to the Cowboys, only Jera Jones would build a stadium where the sun blinds his
Oh,
player and he can't catch a pass.
did you see his comments about that though? He's like, "What do you want us to do? Build a whole new stadium?" It's just like,
If you don't follow Tyler Webb on Twitter or on TikTok, you should follow him. He's a
okay,
Green Bay guy, but he does a lot of like investigative type videos. And he went down and geopositioned that stadium. If they'd have turned it another way, the stadium overlooking with that light would have been towards a Walmart.
oh,
So Jerry did it because it's actually, if you look out, it's facing an assisted living like place. And they think the reason Jerry didn't buy that piece of property because he was worried about the politics of displacing 176 seniors.
oh my god,
So he bought everything else but left that and the Walmart. So he would have
hilarious.
been facing a Walmart. So that's why his players are blinded, because he didn't want his beautiful palace to face a Walmart. Now, a
It's
super
so.
Walmart, I got to be fair, it's a super Walmart.
It's still that's such a Jerry Jones thing to do though. Like I
Yeah,
feel for Kyle. I
yeah.
do.
I don't
I
think
feel
the
for
NFL, if I understand this right, they won't let stadiums be built east and west anymore.
no.
They
I wouldn't.
won't
I didn't
because of that, because of the light.
sense.
Yeah.
It makes
They let
so
US Bank, so US Bank Stadium runs that way, but there when the sun drops, there's skyscrapers.
there's stuff blocking it. Yeah,
Yeah, that was the caveat there. So,
that
yeah.
makes sense.
Katie,
So
thank you so much. This was so much fun, so much fun.
and
Yeah.
yeah,
I'm at my office. The phone's ring-a-linging. Sorry.
no, I'd be happy to do this again. This was a lot
Yeah.
of fun.
No, this was great. And I know, and you make it you seem like an old pro at this. You made it seem like, "Oh no, what are we going to You're like an old pro at this. You're great at
Really?
this." Yeah.
It's all life talk. I'm telling you,
It's great.
it's all life.
We're all just really big stars now. We just got to get used to it. Yeah.
Yes.
It's so hard for us to be the beautiful people. I understand your plight there.
100%.
Katie, thank you so much, Skol. God bless
So,
you.
see you later. Go
You bet.
Chiefs.
Yeah, bye.